Before we get started, I want to give credit where credit is due. Some of the ideas that inspired this conversation were influenced by John Bryant and his work around financial literacy and economic empowerment. I'm building on those concepts through my own life, experiences, and perspective. Have you ever noticed that two people can grow up on the same street, attend the same schools, and even sit in the same classroom, yet one builds wealth while the other struggles their entire life? Why? Is it because one person worked harder? Maybe. Is it because one person got lucky? Sometimes. Or is it because one person learned the rules of the game while the other person never even knew the game was being played?
Empowering you to live a life fully charged. This is 7,000 Volts, Living an Electrified Life with L.J. Tucker.
Welcome back to 7,000 Volts, Living an Electrified Life. I am L.J. Tucker, and today we're going to talk about something that affects every single person listening, regardless of your race, your political beliefs, your education, or your income. Some people say, moolah, that money equality isn't giving everyone the same outcome, but giving everyone the knowledge to create their own outcome. That question changed the way I looked at life. You know my story. Well, most of you know my story. I didn't grow up with money. Most people don't grow up with money. Yeah, I made mistakes. Most people make mistakes. I went to prison. Some people go to prison. I survived 7,000 volts of electricity accidentally that could have ended my life. Most people will never experience that, and I hope that they don't. They may experience it totally different, as I explained it in my book. I built the business. I lost money. I made money. I've been broke. I've been blessed. Through every season, I've learned one thing: money isn't everything. And so that's what helped me create a very successful business when I got to the point till it's not about the money. Because once you make it about the money, I'm not saying that you won't do good or bad, but your principle of why you do what you're doing makes a big difference, in my opinion. Because if you just focus on making the money, sometimes you don't care about the quality. If you're focused on making money, you don't care about the rules of the game. You don't care about cutting corners, because you can become tunnel vision on what you're doing. But understanding money changes everything. Nobody taught me about credit. Nobody explained investing. And nobody showed me how business really works. Outside of my mentors, like Mr. Tinkalakis, he's my main mentor. So nobody taught me about taxes. Nobody explained ownership. Most of us were taught how to earn a paycheck. And so those beginning strategies in life, those beginning educational years, I didn't think I was going to run a business. I thought about it. And most people in business that did great in business, they didn't have a real blueprint that they followed. They have different aspirations, different paths that they took to start the business. Some people were young, some people were older, some people were a lot older, some people were a lot younger. Very few of us were taught how the company writing the paycheck. Think about school. We spend years learning algebra, history, science, English, all important subjects. But how many people graduated knowing how interest works? Very few. How to buy a home, how to start a business, how to invest, how to build generational wealth. how to negotiate. Well, negotiating, I think most of us may be familiar with it at an adolescent age. Well, if I take out the garbage, can I do this? If I do my dishes, can I get extra screen time? Nowadays, screen time. Back in the day was just being able to go outside and run a business. You know, how many kids told a parent or uncle told a child, man, this kid is going to be a lawyer the way they negotiate. What? How to read financial statements. Those aren't electives. Those are life skills, and it takes life skills to understand some of those principles. Imagine graduating high school knowing how to build a budget before you ever built debt. Imagine if you know how credit works before someone hands you over a credit card. And this is where people have problems with an 18-year-old or 17-year-old graduating from high school, enrolling into college, into $100,000 worth of debt, and they can't even balance a checkbook. Imagine learning entrepreneurship before someone tells you to simply find a job. That changes families, that changes communities, that changes generations. One of my favorite sayings is applied knowledge is power, not information. Applied information, because information sitting on a bookshelf changes nobody. Information sitting inside your head changes nobody. Information that becomes action, now that's electricity. Here's something else I learned. People often chase income. Wealthy people chase ownership. Ownership of business, ideas, property, and land. Income pays today's bills. Ownership builds tomorrow's freedom. Success without character is dangerous. Money simply magnifies who you already are. If you're generous before wealth, you'll probably be generous after wealth. If you're dishonest before wealth, money won't fix that. Character comes first. Again, character comes first. I'm going to say it again for the people in the back. Character comes first. That's why I always say, be a good human. Being a good human isn't separate from success. It's the foundation of it. Imagine a business owner who treats employees with dignity. Imagine customers being served earnestly. Imagine entrepreneurs who care about their communities. Leaders whose word actually means something. That's real wealth. The more I think about the future, the more convinced I become that we need another pathway for young people. College is wonderful for some. Trades are awesome for many. Entrepreneurship changes lives for others. Not everyone is built for the same road. So why are we forcing everyone onto one highway? I've shared this vision before. One day I want to build a place where young people learn real life, financial literacy, trade, skills, leadership, and communication, faith, integrity, entrepreneurship, personal responsibility, not just how to make a living, but how to build a life. Imagine construction companies calling us because they know our graduates show up early. Imagine electricians looking for our students because they already understand work ethic. Imagine tree companies, welders, plumbers, mechanics, HVAC contractors, police officers, firefighters, and business owners saying, if they came through that program, we'll hire them. That's bigger than education. That's transformation, my friend. You know that the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, and National Hockey do well. They identify the talent. They develop the talent. They create a pathway. Not everyone makes it into the league, professional sport leagues, that is. But everyone has the opportunity to try. If we built that same kind of pathway for life, not just athletes, life, a place where a teenager who feels overlooked discovers purpose, a place where somebody else impossible becomes a starting point. Maybe that's what we're missing. Not more opinions, more preparation, because preparation creates confidence. Confidence creates action, and action creates opportunities. Opportunities change lives. If you're listening today, stop waiting for permission. Start learning today. Read one chapter. What book? Any book. You can choose my book, 7,000 Volts. Go to the library and check out a book. Take one class. Open one investment account. Start a side business. Learn one trade. Find one mentor. Teach one child. Teach your own child if you have children. You don't have to change the entire world today. Just change your direction. One decision, repeated over time, completely rewrite your future. Not my future, but your future. Because that's how I changed my future. I'll leave you with this. You don't build wealth overnight. You build habits. Habits build discipline. Discipline builds opportunity. Opportunity builds freedom. And freedom gives you the ability to help someone else. That's what success is really about. Not how much you keep, but how many lives you lift. Until next time, protect your energy, guard your words, invest in yourself, invest in others, and remember, every conversation, every decision, every action carry voltage. Live that electrified life, and above all, be a good human and stay electrified. God bless.
This has been 7,000 Volts, Living an Electrified Life, available on YouTube and your favorite podcast app. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. For more information, visit us on the web at ljtucker.com. Remember, stay electrified.